started James Shields in Game 4 today?
No. He's got the Midas touch, so let him make all those decisions. I think he knows what he's doing.
How impactful can your freshmen be this year? Because you're not shy about playing your freshmen if they're ready to jump in and land itself.
Well, they need to be impactful because we've got some good returning players, but we don't have near as much experience as what a lot of people may think. So, and we recruited 4 good guys, and I think all 4 of them have the chance to be in our rotation. Don't know if they all will early, but I think they'll all work to get there. So, in order for us to have a great season, those 4 guys have to play well, and I mean basically all 4. Cliff needs to be our inside presence inside. Devontae needs to be our lead guard, or if he's not, at least play starters minutes doing that. Kelly Oubre needs to be our best wing defender. And then, of course, Sviatoslav could be our best shooter. So they all need to step up and play.
How about Landon Lucas, his role? Are you looking for from him?
Yeah, Landon right now would definitely be in our rotation. He's out now with a slight stress fracture. He'll probably be out about another week or so. But I think Landon can be a player that if that's fighting for a starting spot that basically can play meaningful minutes. So he's really improved from last year.
I got to get a Royals question in for our producer. You didn't ask about the Royals, so I know you've been to the games. I think you're going to go later on today.
Yeah, right.
So are you enjoying this ride?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great to have an entire city or / community or area come behind. There's no divisions. There's no K-State or Missouri or Kansas. Everybody's just supporting the Royals or the Chiefs or whatever. And it's good to be a fan. And certainly they've given people in this area a lot of reasons to be fired up and be very proud.
Coach, you mentioned Brandon Green as a guy that's got talent. Do you expect him to kind of factor into things this year?
I don't know. I do think he has the talent to do so without a question. Everybody can't factor in the way that you want it. If you really break it down, you can't play 12 guys and have everybody be a major factor. He definitely has the talent to do so. But right now, he's one of the guys like Svi and like Kelly and like Connor and like Devontae. Frank and Wayne are probably separating themselves a little bit, but he's one of the guys that's fighting for minutes, and they're not going to be easy to get because those other guys want them as well.
Has Devontae separated himself at all?
Well, I'd say the best players in practice have been, probably Wayne and Frank from a perimeter standpoint. Perry's probably been our overall best player so far, but I believe that Devontae is right there. He just comfort away from having a chance to be the lead guard on this team. I'm not going to say he's going to start, but he could very easily be our starter. By mid-season or maybe even before.
What is it that you like about him? What really stands out about him?
He's a leader. He's poised, intangibles. He reminds me so much of Aaron Miles. Everybody likes him. He's popular. He can convince guys to do things where they actually think it's their idea, but he gets them to do exactly what he wants them to do. I think he has potential to be the best leader, but he's got some things he's certainly got to improve on. But I think he's a solid basketball player, and I think that's what we probably need as much as anybody, is somebody to be solid.
And what about Frank? You talked about how he's done in practice.
Well, Frank can score. Frank is a point guard that can score, so he's really a 2 guard that can play point more than he is a point guard that can score probably. But Frank is a natural scorer, and he's been good in that area.
Bill, how many bigs do you think will play? You got 5, right?
We got 5. We've got 5, and of course you got Hunter, and you got Landon, you got Jamari, and Perry, and then of course Cliff. So you got 5, and not all 5 will play, but I can see Wayne or Kelly playing the 4 a lot too. So it could, definitely not as conventional as what we've been maybe in years past.
Does Hunter remind you of anybody? And you think he's got potential to contribute?
I think he's got potential, sure. I think that it's going to be curious to see. Our guys aren't that far apart from a talent standpoint, so It'll be more so what team is better with them in the game. If Landon is the best, or if our team's the best with Landon in the game, then he could be a starter. If it's Cliff, or Jamari or whoever. So, but you know, Hunter can play. It's just that I don't know if he fits from a talking, from a defensive standpoint, from an execution standpoint, depending on who else is going to be in the game with him. So we'll have to wait and see.
Bill, can you
What
what
are your-
about Jamari and as well as Perry? They've been in your system a little bit longer than some of these other guys. How important is their leadership going to be for you?
Big time. Perry's a quiet guy, as everybody knows. Jamari's not. So Jamari, to me, has a chance to be a more vocal leader than Perry, but Perry, just kind of does his job and does his job pretty well. So I think having those guys around a couple of years, it's amazing to me. You see freshmen and how things are so hard, and you see sophomores and juniors, and just after a little bit of repetition, how those things that were so hard are so easy now. And they're both in that area. I mean, they both know what we want, and it comes pretty natural to them right now.
Have they talked to the younger guys, particularly the ones down low, about how difficult at times it's going to be down low, even though some of them might not think that?
Well, I think that everybody's been humbled a little bit already. It's amazing to me. No matter how good you are, you come to college, you get humbled. Wiggins got humbled, Joe got humbled. They all get humbled, and certainly, Cliff's been humbled, no question. But that doesn't mean that doesn't have potential to be a really good player. It's just that, when you're competing against guys that are 2 or 3 years older and stronger, and they know what they're doing, and you have to think to figure out what you're doing, then automatically you're too slow, and they have the advantage. And I think that's what we're going through right now. But Maury and Perry are great coaching those young kids.
Bill, what are your biggest question marks that you want answered over the next couple of weeks?
I don't know how well we can defend inside. I don't know how well I can see us not creating. We've always been a team that played the angles and got easy baskets where you didn't have to go through defense. That's always been what we've done, and it doesn't look like it's coming near as natural as what it has with some other teams so far. So I worry about, can we defend inside and can we score inside, and then of course when you're not big, you worry about how well you rebounded against good rebounding teams, and that still remains to be seen also.
Do you look at that team with Morris twins inside as being maybe a model for this group because that team didn't have a lot of standing height either?
No, but Markeith is 2 inches bigger than anybody we got. He was 6'10". So I look at it more like Darnell and Shady. Our bigs, Perry and Jamari, are very skilled. Perry can obviously shoot it well. Jamari's not as good a shooter, but he's very skilled passing and ball handling. And I think there's more similarities with Shady and Darnell than I think there is with any other teams we've had.
You mentioned about the fact that you're concerned about scoring inside, so does that even put more of an emphasis on Perry having to be consistent?
Yeah, I think so. Well, Perry needs to be he needs to be our leading scorer. He needs to average 16, 18 a game. We're going to try to move him around where he's not playing inside all the time, and he knows that. So that when he does play inside, he definitely needs to make the most of that. And because I made a deal with him. Basically, if you want to play here, which I think would be good for our team, then in the past we'd probably play you 60% of the time inside, and you probably work hard 30% of 50% of the 60%, something like that. Now, if you're only going to play inside 30% of the time, you got to work hard all 30% of those opportunities to try to score, because when he's open, he's got to get touches, and he does a great job of scoring after he catches it. He needs to do a better job of scoring before he catches it.
Does Kelly's versatility and length allow you to play him at the 4 too if you move Perry out?
Yeah, I think so. I honestly think Wayne is more suited to be a 4 than Kelly. But Kelly, yeah, we're gonna try them both there. We're gonna try them both there. But I love how Wayne can post and do some things. So,
what about on the defensive end?
You know what, Kelly, I think Wayne may be more suited to defend a 4, but we'll see. Kelly will foul a lot right now, but you can't do that against everybody. But depending on how much you want to make a freshman think, you know, traps and rotations and all that stuff, he may be better off playing the 3 when Wayne's in the game with him.
Adding on to that, how much small ball do you see?
Well, if you definition of small ball is playing 4 guards, probably a lot. But our 4 guards could be 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 6'7", you know, if we play Wayne at the point. So I mean, we're not going to be small, but we're going to be small inside, you know, basically. All right, guys.
This is the first year a lot of other teams got votes. Are you prepared to tell us who you voted for?
I voted for Texas. Yeah. I think Texas, they returned all 5 starters off a team that, you know, was as talented as any team in the league last year. And they added a couple of recruits that should be difference makers. So I don't see why. I mean, I'm happy people picked us, but I think that's probably based more on what's happened in the past and what's based on actual roster. Because roster, I definitely put them number 1.
You had Oklahoma State last year, didn't you?
I did pick Oklahoma State last year. So hopefully I'll be wrong again this year.
I apologize if you asked this already, but early impressions of Cliff Alexander now that you have him on campus.
Of Cliff?
Of Cliff, yeah.
Oh, he's playing okay. He's trying really hard. He's a sponge. He has got a great attitude. He wants to be coached. He wants to be drilled. But he's not playing good yet because he's thinking he's a pleaser. He wants to try to please and do exactly what we want him to do. And you know, sometimes when you think, your feet get a little slow, but he's going to be a terrific player.
Is it a lot of those little things like figuring out rotations and footwork in the post and stuff like that that you're working on and trying to get him up to speed quickly with?
Yeah, we haven't really got to a lot of stuff yet. I mean, we haven't put in a lot of stuff, but just getting him to understand basically meat and potato type things, and then we can start building off of that once he kind of gets that. But he's doing well. He's doing well. He's got a lot to learn. His high school coach did a phenomenal job with him, but it's a totally different deal, and I think he could by the end of the year he could be one of the big, you know, harder guys to deal with in our league. But offensively, it's going to take him a little time.
Do you think this year's schedule is as tough as last year?
You know, I don't know. I thought, you know, on surface, if you see Kentucky, Florida, and possibly Michigan State in your first 3 weeks of the season, you say that's pretty tough. But last year's schedule was a joke. It seemed like every team we played was winning their league. Or last year's schedule, our RPI was, I think, the highest. Wasn't it the highest ever recorded since RPI has been in effect? So, you know, I think that, you know, who knows how this will play out. But if our league is as good as last year, this year's schedule will be just as good.
Did your experience last year with all the freshmen change at all how you approach bringing in new guys, depending on the, you know, the context of the team and stuff? But
in what way? I mean, like
just
one
in terms of like having to throw guys in earlier than.
Oh no! We've always done that. That doesn't matter to me. You know, at Illinois, we started 3 freshmen and sophomore, and, you know, won the Big Ten or won the tournament and finished second in the league. I mean, that stuff doesn't matter. You know, we won the league here, starting 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores a year after Wayne and Keith and all those guys left. So I think we started 3 freshmen the year after we won the national championship. So that doesn't matter.
Was anything different about last season in terms of learning as a coach or as a staff?
Well, I think, oh yeah, there's a lot of things to learn and try to improve on. You know, we're not going to have a situation where we're handling the media stuff around Wiggs like we did last year. But I thought last year, I thought our young kids did unbelievable. I mean, they were great. Joe was the best big guy in the country, and Wiggs was the #1 pick in the draft. You know, I just wish we could have kept those guys healthy. But I learned a lot through last year's team, but it wasn't through the young kids. It was through maybe some of our veterans. You bet.
Well, my memory might not be very good, but have you had a perimeter rotation like this where you enter the season maybe not knowing who's going to play?
I think you could make a case last year was a little bit like that. You know, you had Wiggs and Wayne and Nadir and Frank. I mean, there's 3 out of 4 freshmen right there, probably in our top 5 rotation guys. And I'm trying to think who was our 5th big guy. I mean, guard last year. Was it Brandon, our 5th guy? So you know, last year we just played 4 primarily, or Connor. Last year we just played 4. I don't know how we play 7. I don't know how. There's going to be a couple of guys that don't play as much as what they'd hope, obviously.
You mentioned last week that Wayne would be a guy that starts if he's playing to his potential, but it almost seemed like he wasn't at that time.
Yeah.
What was?
Oh, I think Wayne is. I think he's tried really hard. I just don't think that he is. He has gone, you know, through practice so far. He's had some really good days, but he's had some days where he's just average. But he's trying so hard. He's trying to be a leader, and he's trying to get out of his comfort zone. So I know when he doesn't play as well as he can, I know it's because he's trying to do what I want him to do. He'll figure it out.
Last year, you had Andrew on the perimeter, somebody to almost do similar stuff to what Wayne can do. Do you think there was almost a tendency for him to just kind of fill a role last year as opposed to?
Absolutely. He was just trying to survive last year, and we had Wiggs and we had Joe and we had some strong personalities, and I think that he thinks this is his team now, more so than anybody else on our team. Where last year he would have never thought that.
Can you tell a difference health-wise?
Oh yeah, he's got bounce. I mean, I thought Wayne was pretty athletic, and then when he was here last year with us, he didn't look as athletic to me. And I kept thinking, well, what is it? Is his weight? Is it whatever? And it wasn't. His knee was just bothering him, you know. And he you know, we actually, once we got into the season, there was really no reason to do anything until the season was over. And now he's got fresh legs again. I think it's primarily because he's healthy. He looks a lot more athletic.
I've got some baseball I want to talk to you about.
Let's do it.
In 08, when you guys were down 9, 2 minutes to go, you had this near-death experience, basically. When you got it to overtime, there was no way you guys were going to lose that game. I was thinking the Royals, when they were down to the A's in the 8th, had this experience like, you know,
it's over,
it's done, and now they can't lose.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if there's something about having, you know, your life pass before your eyes in competition and needing something of a miracle to get it done, if that gives you a life and a confidence that maybe you don't normally would have.
I think when you go through something like we did, I can't speak to them as much, but when you go through something like we did, our guys felt like that the game was over. I remember them saying to Coach, it's over. I said, no, it's not over. It's over. And it wasn't over, but they felt like it was, which is half the battle of it actually being over. But the thing about it is, that's so cool about it, and the Royals are probably the same way. When they were down 7-3 going into 8, right?
Yeah.
So they're down 7-3. I wonder what body language was doing in the dugout. I wonder what the conversations were like and all that stuff. I wonder if there was a panic mode saying, "Oh God, we got to do it right," or was it like, "Hey, everybody do their job"?
Yeah, I don't think there's, you know, they were not experienced enough to even feel like it was over.
But our guys, that game, that's the thing I'll take from it more than anything else, is they never changed body language, and they didn't point fingers, and everything was like, "Hey, come on guys, we can do this. Come on, we got to do it now, but you know we can do this." And I think there is something to that it gives you a kind of like a what's the right word? Adrenaline rush isn't the right word, but it gives you a confidence that, hey, nothing is too big for us moving forward.
Yeah.
So, and the Royals, what's unbelievable about that, and I could be wrong, the worst they've been behind is 1-0.
Yeah.
Since then,
for 2 innings.
Last night.
Last night,
and the Angels, they were behind 1-0 when Trout went deep, but they came back and scored 2 in the bottom of the first. 3 in the bottom.
Gordon cleared the bases.
I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like they're playing with house money every game. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
So,
thanks, man.
So you guys got to overtime and you guys thought it was over? I mean,
no, the players did. They were saying that. Yeah. Yeah. You know, you play against it in that particular game, and I don't know if you guys know, I've watched it a few times, and I could recite, maybe a few things that happened. But in that particular game, we were actually the better team the first half by a fairly good margin. We're up 4 or 5, and then they were by far the best team the second half. But it was the reason they were the better team is because we missed shots or what. It wasn't because either team really outplayed anybody. We didn't. I mean, it wasn't that. It was just like both teams are playing and they made the same shots we missed, or vice versa during the first half. But the guys battled so hard. They were like, "Hey, look at their eyes," and it's so deflating. I mean, it happened to us against Michigan. I mean, it turns around, it's the same thing. We beat Michigan. I mean, for 38 minutes we dominated the game. And then Burt goes nuts at late, and then after, I guarantee their guys are saying, "Hey, man, we got these guys now." And the truth of the matter was they did. So.
Thanks, man.
All right, bud.
You coming to see Rio Friday night?
Yeah, planning on it. I think the team's coming over. Yeah, planning on it. Not Rio and Rush.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
A lot of the parts change every year, but do you feel a little more comfort level just with the number of guys that were in the rotation that are back this year?
Well, the number's 3, so it's not like there's a ton, but you got Maury, Perry, and Wayne, and then Connor and Brandon played, minor minutes, but I think we're as young this year as we were the year before, maybe younger, but I do feel comfortable. I do feel comfortable with the guys we have back, and Frank was part of it too.
Yeah.
So we probably have more returning guys than we had maybe the year before, but still, I don't think anybody returning 4 guys that played significant minutes would be considered a lot of returning guys.
Compared to last year.
Compared to last year, yeah, probably.
Still, I know you don't necessarily use other sports, but obviously what the Royals are doing right now, and they're come from behind a lot of times. Do you kind of interject it a little bit in your practice?
Oh yeah, we will.
Especially young
Yeah, we will. Yeah,
players?
yeah, we will. We haven't talked a lot about Royals and things like that specifically, but we talk about being loose, being able to perform the best when it counts the most, and not being not getting down, not being discouraged, always thinking next play, and of course they epitomize that as much as anybody right now. But the one thing they have done, though, they from my standpoint, they won the game that they were not supposed to win, and since then they've won all the games that were 50-50 games. I mean, they haven't been a lot better than Baltimore, but they've been a lot better in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, so to speak. And so they there's certain points in games that are more important than other points, and it seems like to me they're winning all the big points.
So you kind of hopefully maybe be able to interject some of that
Oh,
in
absolutely.
practices?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only practices, but as a mindset. I think that we'll definitely use them as an example, and they'll be an example for all teams in our area of what can happen when you like each other and when chemistry's good and get good leadership and everybody does their job. Good things can happen.
Well, you talked about the close shots, and that's really been a staple for you guys, where you've been.
Yeah.
Just tell me, what did that come from for you? Who hammered that home with you, or why has that always been something you guys have been really good at?
Well, I just think basketball can be summed up very easily. If you're good, you get easy baskets and you don't give them up, and if you're not very good, you give them up and you don't get them. I mean, that's to me is basketball. We can have a shooting contest with other schools or whatever, and there'd be a lot of times we wouldn't win them, but we create enough easy baskets and get angles. We call them getting angles, and you can do that a lot of different ways, but our offense is designed to get angles, and those are basically points you don't have to score over defense. You can get an angle and lead you right into a basket, and a lot of people emphasize that. A lot of people don't emphasize it. Some things are more important, but that's one thing that we've always thought about. I don't think you can shoot a high percentage unless you get easy baskets.
Defensively, what adjustments? You talked about not having a true rim protector.
Yeah.
What changes as far as your approach?
I would say probably more pressure to create havoc in the backcourt, and then probably in the forecourt I want to pressure, but we have to be more sound because we can't make mistakes that will lead them into baskets where before you funnel them to the big guy. And so kind of probably a more exciting style, to be honest with you. Maybe a little bit more up-tempo, full-court type defense, and then in the half court, we got to be a little bit sounder guarding the ball.
Bill, I've heard you say you coach defense a little differently based on how the rules were going to last year.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you went too far with that?
I feel like we hurt our team last year with how we did that. I think we took away a lot of the aggressiveness by always saying, "Get your hands off, don't foul," and don't foul is not going to be anything that comes out of my vocabulary again. I think we need to say, hands wide. Come up with, because when you plant that seed, don't foul, automatically you've told your team to back off, and we can't do that. And I don't think I did a great job of that last year.
Have you brought in less officials than you did?
We haven't brought in any officials yet, so we'll definitely bring it. We brought in less than we did last year. We brought in 0, but we're going to bring in guys beginning next week. It's a season-long season, and but we've got, like right now, if officials came to practice, it'd be great if they're there, but we'll spend the whole time stopping them, and we can get as much out of it. We need another week of practice right before we scrimmage. A lot.
So playing 4 perimeter guys, is that strictly a personnel thing because of the guys you have, or do you actually think that you might, or do you think it's more effective to play 4 guards in the way college basketball is right now?
No, I think it's more effective to have a 4-man that can play guard.
Okay.
Like Yang is a perfect college 4-man. Perry is a perfect college 4-man. Guys that can stretch it, that can isolate the post because you can't trap them and do different things like that. That to me is the way to play. The Spurs have done that. Obviously, playing either it be Diaw or whoever they play, Bonner or whoever, a guy that can stretch it. I think to me that's the hardest position to guard right now in college basketball is a stretch 4. So because of so many ball screen actions. But that's what I would say. I think playing 4 guards isn't necessarily what I want to do, but really your 4-man to be great in college basketball probably should be a guard type skills.
In recruiting, all the big men you recruit always say Kansas develops big men.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny was here. He got a lot of credit. How do you guys do it year in and year out, develop big men?
Well, Danny deserved a lot of credit. He was great with the guys, but
they're still saying it.
But Norm Roberts is an unbelievable coach. Unbelievable. And look at the progress that Joel and those guys made in such a short amount of time. You'll see the same thing with Cliff and Perry and Maury. Danny was great, but also, in my opinion, the system allows big guys to be good because we play through our bigs. So.
But do you teach him pointers, or does Norm? How does that?
We all do. Norm's in charge of the big guys, but yeah, we all work with that. I think I'm probably more of a big man coach than anything.
You were talking about scoring and getting angles. How much is that predicated on having a point guard that delivers the ball to you?
A lot of it is, but a lot of it's not. The way that we do it, Matt, it's a lot of it is guys looking and being able to feed the post and this and that. But a lot of it is the consistency of the big guys when the ball's in certain areas. This is how we post, and we don't forget, and we always get under guys and stuff like that. So. Guards are going to miss their guys sometimes. Last year we didn't feed the post. Last year's the worst passing team we've had. But this year I think we'll be better at that. But still, it falls on the big guys doing their job more than anything else.
Is there a challenge getting young kids? Usually in high school they can just attack the front side, the first side.
Yeah.
Is it a challenge getting them to realize you have to get some?
Yeah. I think it is. What I think is a challenge is getting them to understand, hey, work on the first side, knowing that you're not ever going to catch it. But it sets you up to catch it on the second or third side. That's the kind of stuff that we got to get our guys to figure out.
Coach, obviously you recruited Miles Turner. What kind of scouting report do you have, or what drew you to him as a recruit?
Well, he's terrific. He's terrific. He's long. He can protect the rim, but the thing that he can really do is he can stretch it. He's a 5-man that can stretch it. So, good shooter. He good shot blocker. He's going to be a terrific college player.
What have you thought of what Cliff's shown you so far?
Cliff is a good player that is going to become a great player, but he's got to get, you know, he's got to tighten some things up from an understanding standpoint. So he's out there playing instead of thinking. You know, like a late night. Do you guys think he looked good late night? He looked great. That's the best he's looked because he was just out there playing. You know, but right now I'm trying. No, you catch it this way, your feet are this way, and you know that's not him. When he's able to do that stuff, and it becomes natural, then you'll start seeing him being very effective.
How many of these guys have had coaches scheming against them, you know, preventing them from getting the ball or scoring the ball?
Well, in high school, a lot of them probably have, you know, but I mean, I watched Cliff play. They play a triangle and two, put the two on him, you know, or whatnot. So, but he's doing good. He's doing great. But you know, it's Markeith and Marcus and all those guys. It took a little bit of time. It's going to take him a little bit of time.
Coach,
Joe took time. Hell, Joe didn't even score. Play Duke. Joe makes 2 free throws or whatever, and that's it.
Well, then he rocked the Dream Shake in December.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Coach, after late night, you talked about how Connor wasn't a point but could play some point for you guys. I mean, does that mean that you've kind of narrowed focus down to Frank and Devontae Graham?
No, not really, because Connor can play the point. But I think Connor's just as good off the ball or better than he is on the ball. And one thing about a point guard is, you know, we'd like for him to be a good creator for others. And Connor sometimes is a better creator for others after he's caught the ball on the wing, so he could be a post feeder and things like that. So, you know, we can play Connor at the 1, but when he and Wayne are in the game together, Wayne can play the 1. I mean, I don't care. Whoever gets it brings it. But I do think that those other guys are probably more prepared to be a so-called point guard, but I think Connor's more prepared to shoot off the catch than any of those guys too.
Is Wayne as good a passer as you guys?
No, he's a good
just
passer, but he's got I mean, I see some crap that in practice that you guys don't, but he has potential to be an excellent passer. Svi has potential to be the best passer on our team, though. So,
has Connor's strength gotten better?
I'd say a little bit. Yeah, I think so. I think he's more prepared to play this year.
You made a comment last year about playing him and that he needed to get more minutes because he shoots so well, but he's got to get in the groove of it. Is that kind of, you know, you kind of deal with, you know, those minutes of trying to get him more time to get the shots?
I think we're dealing with that a lot. You know, Connor, the 2 best shooters on our team are, without question, will be Frank Camp and Green and Svi. Those are the 3 best shooters on our team. And there's a chance that you know, they're all fighting for minutes. So Brandon Green has shot the ball unbelievable. And he shot it better than anybody. Svi has been, when he gets on a roll, he's as good as anybody we've had. Connor, same way. But I don't, you know, to say we need to play Connor because of his shooting, well, if he plays, that means Svi doesn't play. Or if Svi doesn't play, that means, or if Svi plays, maybe that means Brandon doesn't play. So, you know, I want them to be shooters, but I also want them to be complete players too. And Connor's worked really hard to be that. Connor's become pretty good defensively.
Bill, you guys obviously self-scout after the year. I just wondered what main takeaways you had after last year, after watching you guys.
I'd say the takeaways that we had were we allowed the rules to affect our aggressiveness. I'd say that'd be one thing. I think we also allowed the personality of our team to be one of, not of a pit bull, so to speak. Although that's not what we wanted, that's kind of what we evolved to. I think we tried to be too pretty a team last year instead of a you know, nitty-gritty type team. I think that a lot of things that we did, I thought were great. A lot of things that we did weren't so good, but I want a point guard that can play, that can get others involved. That was the thing. Our point guard play last year was not poor. Not going to say that at all. But I don't think that Wiggs and Wayne and Joe were as good as they could have been, because I'm not sure that we got them involved like we could have or should have.
Is that where Devontae can really help kind of be a
so.
role player in
I-
that position?
Yeah, I think Frank can too. I think we'll understand that better now. So
And how do you get Pitbull out of guys?
I think you recruit it.
Okay.
And then there's certain things in practice that you try to do to develop it. But I think you can recruit tough guys. And I'm not talking about physically tough. I'm talking about mentally tough and the guys that love to compete. I thought last year's team was not the most competitive team we've had. It goes without saying.
Some have compared Speed to Ginobili. Is that an accurate assessment? Is that fair?
No, he's no. I don't know who we compare him to. He should be a high school junior, so it's hard for me to really gauge on where he will be. But God dang, he could be good, and it's going to take him some time. But he doesn't do the things that Ginobili does. But he's one thing he can do. He can shoot, and he can pass, but he doesn't put the ball down and get to the rim as well, and that kind of stuff. But Speed can be an NBA player without question.
Is some of that just the style of play in Europe?
Maybe, yeah. And also some of us being 17 years old in a foreign country with no parents to go home to every night and tell you everything's going to be okay and that kind of stuff too. So when you're going against men and you should be a high school junior worrying about who you're taking to the football game and it's a little bit different, for him. But he's done great. He's done great.
Bill, what do you think about Buddy Hield?
I think he's terrific. We missed on that one. We recruited Buddy, and I can't remember who we took instead. But not saying we could have got him, but I think it was a bad. I saw Buddy play a ton. It was a bad miss. He's on Perry's AAU team. I think he's great. I think that as good as he is shooting the ball and as good as he is being active and long, his personality and everything's so contagious. He just breathes life into a room as opposed to sucking the air out of it. I think he's great. He may be his favorite. Other than my guys, I don't know if I like anybody better from watching him play. I love watching him play.
Do you keep up with Tariq in Houston?
Yeah, he's doing great. Yeah, he I didn't see what he did last night. I think he had 5, 4, and 4 last night. But game 2, he won that game for them against Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then he gets 10 and 15 in game 1. So he's got to be close to making that team.
The stuff that you knew, he just got so many fouls.
I think that Tariq was a totally different player after Christmas. I think that I thought last year he was not effective early on. He fouled all the time. He put so much pressure on himself. And when Joe started, I thought Tariq got better. And by the end of the year, Tariq was good. He's a good player by the end of the year. Really good player.
I guess with he's been struggling.
I don't know.
He hasn't played in the last 2 games much.
Is that right?
2 minutes, and the coach said that other guy may beat him out.
Who's the other guy?
Amino or something. Some guy.
From Georgia Tech?
I don't know.
Well, if it's him, geez, he was like
third guy is
6th pick in the
Patrick
draft. Yeah. So
I think with his beat him out.
So I hope those guys can just hang away. Jeff was our 6th best big man. You talk about having bigs. He was our 6th best big man when we had Cole, the twins, and Thomas and Mario Little. And so, you start with,
That's crazy.
No, and he's playing in the league. So if he can hang in the league for a few more years, that'd be great.
Do you see any similarities at all between what you had with Jeff and what you have in Hunter Mickelson?
No, totally different. Hunter blocks all his shots out of their hand.
Yeah.
Jeff blocked all his shots on his shot. Hunter gets them all going up. He's unbelievable at that. I've never seen anybody who can do it better. Get them going up. Jeff blocks them after it's leaving his hand. So I don't see any similarities in that at all. Although Hunter's a good shot blocker, but it's not the same.
Yeah. A lot of Big 12 teams are going almost small ball, playing 6'6", 6'7", guys like Cameron Clark or Shane Southwell at the 4.
Yeah.
Is there any temptation, I guess, with you guys having the versatility with Kelly and some of the guys this year to maybe play a little bit more that way?
We're going to play that way, too. Yeah, but it'll be based strictly on our personnel more than anything else. One thing that we've been really lucky, we've had big guys that can guard those guys to an extent, and then it puts a lot of pressure on them to guard us. So this may be a little bit different this year. We may have to play a little smaller this year. Usually we play to make people match up with us, and now we'll probably in some ways have to match up with them.
How's Perry better this year than he was a year
I just
ago?
think his mindset. He's more aggressive. He knows he's a good player. He's always probably thought he was, but now he knows he is, and he knows that he should be our leading scorer. I mean, I think he's ready to have a big year.
You have some of those abilities to kind of be that matchup guy that people have problem with it before.
Yes, absolutely. And he was last year too. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any similarity between him and Marcus going into his junior year?
That's what I told Perry. I told Perry, watch as much Marcus Morris tape as you can. You know, you look at them statistically, they shot the same number of threes. They've scored. Perry has scored more points and got more rebounds than Marcus through his freshman and sophomore. I mean, through his sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
Freshman year, Marcus had a better freshman year. But they neither one shot a ton of threes, but they both have potential to shoot a ton of threes. I think there's a lot of similarities. Yeah.
Jamari talked about, you always talk about the layup's the easiest shot. Did some other coach, as you were growing up or as you were coaching, did somebody always hammer that in your head? Where would you learn it from?
From our offense.
Okay.
You know, from when we put in our offense, that was the whole thing with me with our offense, is to get angles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what we've always emphasized, and how to get angles. So.